Hello, this is David Holland, and I'm here today to talk to you about how to build a campus-based assessment in Aware. Before I get started on that, though, I'd like to talk about some of the differences between teacher-made tests and administrator-made tests in the system. If a teacher goes into the system and uses the Test tab to create a test, that teacher can administer the test to his or her students. However, the results cannot be shared, or the test itself cannot be used by any other teacher. The teacher can, however, share the test with other teachers or administrators. However, Aware views those tests as completely separate from one another, and the results from multiple administrations of that test cannot be combined together into one aggregate view. So basically there's an issue with teacher-made tests in the case that if campuses want to view the data at a higher level, aggregated at the campus level, they cannot do so. So it's recommended that any test that needs to be viewed at a higher level should be created as a campus-based test. In order to do so, an administrator needs to log into the system and use the Manage tab, and then the test that's created there can be administered to any subject, teacher, or class, and the results from the test can be aggregated by the class, teacher, or campus level. So it provides much more flexibility. However, the person who needs to create such a test would need to have campus-based access to the system. So let's move over to Aware and see how we can create a campus-based test in the system. First of all, I want to mention that it's oftentimes better to use a browser such as Firefox rather than Internet Explorer, because we found in our use of the system that it provides a much more clean approach, and there you'll run into a lot fewer problems if you use Firefox or Chrome rather than Internet Explorer. So I'm showing here what the basic view of a campus administrator would look like, and so in order to start, the administrator would click on the Manage tab and then administer test, and then finally create a test. And the first choice that comes up is to how to create a test, and we're going to assume that the campus administrator would like to create a quick test key. You would use this if you want to create an answer key only and you're not interested in actually putting items into the system. Then click Next. The next screen asks the user to provide a title, and so in our district we have a standardized way to put titles. We start with the first 3 digits of the campus number, then the date. In this case, you'll notice 0113, that would be January 2013. Then the test and grade level for the particular subject area, and then after that each campus can decide to use the rest of the information in the way that they see fit. This allows us as a district to provide a way to organize tests so that they're much more easy to sort through. They would be organized according to campus number, and then by the date, and then by the subject. So that makes things easier down the road when you try to find tests in a large bank. The next thing to do would be to set the grade level and the start and end date. The test cannot be administered or scanned from students unless you have included the end date. So I'm going to set that at January the 18th. So tests that are generated out of the system, the answer documents can be scanned up until the 18th, and of course this information can be changed. There are places to put the tests. There's 2 places where campuses might want to put their semester exams. If you're a middle school, under middle school campus assessments, high school would use high school. If elementaries are creating their own assessments, they would choose the elementary campus assessments. Those are basically the 3 places where we would have local assessments created at the campus level stored. Then click Next. Following screen, you would select the campus where the test would be administered. And then the next stage is to select the course. Now at this part of the process you can only select one course. Since this is a 7th grade test, I'm going to pick Mathematics grade 7, and that's going to determine what sort of standards are available to assign to the test. Later on you can actually provide more courses from which to select standards. However, for right now, to get started, all we needed was one course. The next question asks you the number of questions that you might want to have, so you need to change that. The number of responses, you see by default it allows you to create a test with multiple choice. I'm going to keep it at 4, and then we'll move on to the next screen. And at this point, we're asked to enter in the correct answers for the test, so you would go through and you would just pick which of those are available. Now you might note that at the top of the screen there, at the top of each column, it says A, F, B, G, C, H, D, J. You do have the option of either having A, B, C, D or alternating A, B, C, D, F, G, H, J items on the test. So that's one consideration that you need to make in putting together your assessment. So now the system has built the test for you, and it basically comes up and tells you you're done. However, you're not completely finished until you click the Finish button down at the bottom. So once you click that, you then should have access to the assessment, and the assessment will come up, and we can now see the assessment. I'm going to close the tabs window here because we no longer need that part. And you'll notice now under Middle School Campus Assessments, it has placed the test under that spot, and now it allows me to make a number of other additional selections related to the parameters of the test. On the first tab, you'll notice it's a general tab. It includes information that we've already entered into the system: test type, basically where's the folder that it's being stored, the subject area, the grade level. Here you can set the level for satisfactory or advanced. By default, for our district CBAs, we set the satisfactory level at 70% of the items correct, and at advanced we set at 90%. There's also a place at the bottom where you can put instructions and notes in case you were printing out the test from the system, but recall that we are just making an answer key only in this case. Under curriculum, you see here's the curriculum that we selected. We could add another course. For example, if you wanted to put both math and science questions on the test, you could select a science course at this point. We're going to leave this at Math Grade 7. Under the Questions tab, you can see that there's a now basically blank questions, they're calling it, and all 20 of our items are here. As I scroll down, it also gives the answer choice that we provided, and as I roll over each one of these, you'll notice that there's a little pencil that shows up and 2 blue arrows. If I wanted to change the order of the items in the answer key, I could use the blue arrows. If I want to edit one of the questions, I can do that as well by clicking on the pencil. Also note up here that there's an alternate tab. That alternate tab allows you to change between A, B, C, D order or alternating between A, B, C, D, and F, G, H, J. Notice now that it's A, G, B, F. If I click on alternate, that'll change so that all of them appear to be A, B, C, D. Okay, so you can see how that's changed. Now if I click on question A, I can now add information to these items. Okay, here's a place where I could enter in the item itself, which in this case I'm not going to be doing that. Under standards though, this component is where I would add a standard to that particular item. So I would look down here and I could find the particular standard that's based on the course that I put there, where red is readiness and blue is the supporting standards. And so if I select that and select standard, it will take that standard and now associate that with this particular item on the test. I can actually add another standard to this by selecting either a new primary or secondary standard. I could add process standards if I want to. I don't believe there's a limit to the number of standards that can be added to each item, but then I would click Finish to indicate that now I wanted to assign that particular standard to the item. So now you see that for question 1 gives me the answer A, but now it also indicates what the student expectation, 7.2F, and that's a readiness standard that's been assigned to that particular item. So I would continue this process and go through each one of these items and associate them with a particular standard. The next step would be to look at campuses. I've already selected that before. You see I've got this particular campus selected. Under students, this is an important thing to consider because this will determine how your answer documents are produced and will also determine how the results can be aggregated and interpreted. It's my recommendation that you always select students in selected courses, as I've done here, and what that will do is that will allow you to report the results aggregated by teacher. Some of the other choices, for example, if you selected all students in a test grade level, that would not let you aggregate the results by teacher. So once I've selected the course radio button, then I need to scroll down and I need to find the particular course that I want to release this test to. Here's Math Grade 7. If I also wanted to release it to Pre-AP Math Grade 7, I could do that. And so now this particular test that I'm creating in the system will be released to all of the teachers and students that are enrolled in these two courses. The next step is to go to Administration. Under Administration, you'll see the start and end date. At this point is where you could change that. For example, if you needed to extend the window by a few days, if students were absent and they needed to have their test scanned, you could change that information here. Under the second component to the Administration tab, there's something that allows teacher to print answer sheets, or if you select this, only administrators can print the answer sheets. So that's a discussion you'll need to have on your campus about how you want to handle that. And then this third one here is another one of consideration, is that it's possible to build teacher graded questions into the test, or teachers can answer blank student questions. So if students left questions blank, the teacher could put an answer in there, or the teacher may answer all the questions. So the teacher could conceivably go into the system and on the screen put in all the answers to the questions for students. That's especially useful if the students have not bubbled on answer documents and the teacher is just going to put those answers into the system. So once I've set this administration information, I'm just going to leave it the way it is. At this point I want to make sure I save what I've done so far because I've made some changes, and once I select save after I've assigned students to the test, under the administration screen you'll now see that I can print a sample of the answer document so that I can take a look at what that answer document may look like. So once I've done that and I've checked everything and I'm certain that the test is exactly the way that I want it to be, I can change its status from pending over to active. And I cannot administer a test unless it's active, and once it's active then you'll notice that that button about printing a sample answer sheet now says print answer sheets. So let me go through that process of showing you how to do that. So our test is now ready and we're ready to create some answer sheets. So instead of generating or sending to the printer all of that information, it allows you to make some choices. So as you can see here, the drop down boxes allows me to select under the campus the particular courses. I can pick the teachers that are available. I can select the specific classes. So let's suppose I only wanted to select this one teacher's third and fourth period class. I would check this to look just exactly like this, and then when I click finish, what it will do is it will generate an answer document for each student that happens to be in that teacher's class. You notice that it opens up as a PDF. You can save the PDF once it comes up. You can email it to someone, but the PDF contains all of that teacher's answer documents for that particular class. So let me make this a little smaller so you can see what I'm looking at. So here's what answer doc might look like for that particular student. And so this is a long document. You can see there's a different answer doc for each student, and these, if you select many teachers and many classes, it'll sort them according to alphabetical by student within a class period within a teacher. So it's a very convenient way to put that out. So that's very quickly some of the basic steps of putting together a campus-based assessment. Remember that we're always available for questions in the accountability department at extension 5796. Thank you.